Hello, my name is Juan López Gutiérrez. I'm a foreign language teacher at Escuela Normal Superior Veracruzana, Dr. Manuel Suárez Trujillo in Jalapa, Veracruz, Mexico. I would like to thank the 6th Saarbrücken International Conference on Foreign Language Teaching Committee for the invitation to participate in this important event. My project is called Enhancing Pronunciation and Fluency in a Basic English as a Foreign Language course by means of video recording. As we know, speaking is one of the skills that are necessary to reach communicative competence, either in foreign or native languages. As a result of this, teaching methodologies have sought the opportunity to implement exercises, activities, and speaking practice that allow students to develop this important skill. We have seen that time is a factor that contributes to the development of speaking skills. In this case, as a result of the current COVID-19 pandemics, face-to-face teaching had to be replaced by online classes in order to decrease the rate of infection of this virus. In Mexico, this situation affected the population significantly, given that internet connection is sometimes not quite prevalent as in other countries, especially in non-rural, non-urban settings, and this has affected the population of Mexico to different extents. Different alternative resources have been implemented and examined in order to allow students to have more time to practice. As a result of this project seeks to analyze the possible implementation of video recording to identify needs in terms of pronunciation and fluency to help students assess their own skills. And additionally, this project also wants to examine the effects of video recording regarding students' ability to pronounce and speak fluently. There are three main research questions to this study. The first one, how can video recording impact students' phonetic self-correction in English? That is to say, how can this technique of video recording help students improve their pronunciation skill? The second one, can this technique be instrumental to develop students' fluency in English? And if that is the situation, how? The third one, what potential effects can this procedure exert on additional speaking skills? We would like to see if other skills can also be benefited or hindered by this implementation. There are different factors that exert influence on speaking skills development. The first one is the speech features themselves. So it has been observed that when students master one skill over the other, or when they cannot develop the skills to the same extent, they can experience some speaking problems. So for example, if a student can develop fluency, but he or she has pronunciation problems, this could also affect their skills. Another factor that has been examined is emotional agents. So it is important to see how emotions such as frustration, for example, motivation, stress, happiness, and all these positive and negative feelings can affect students' performance, not only in speaking but also in learning of any linguistic ability. The third one is content familiarity, to see if students know enough vocabulary or grammar, so when they are competent users of these skills, they could also develop their speaking skills and other linguistic abilities. As a result of the pandemic and before this, it has been explored that it has been also analyzed that different resources need to be examined and implemented in teaching context in order to maximize class procedures. One of them is video recording. This strategy can be used for self-assessment. Students and teachers can identify their strengths and weaknesses, the areas to be improved, not only in speaking but in other areas of languages. Video software that identify sounds could also be useful to help students identify different phonemes, intonation patterns, stress patterns. And the third one, social media. Applications such as WhatsApp and Facebook have also been analyzed, not only because of their communicative competence and the idea to promote communication, but also because these skills, these abilities, and this social media and application have also been identified as resources that can help students self-assess their own speaking and other skills, and they have also placed an important emphasis on pronunciation and fluency improvement. So by means of these social media devices, software, these skills can be improved. The study. In order to participate all the population of the students, were invited to take part in the project. Nevertheless, only 6 participants decided to take part voluntarily. So as a result of this, 2 female students and 4 male students were selected for the project. All of them are native speakers of Mexican Spanish. All of them have a basic English level. They are all enrolled in the first semester at a normal school or teacher college, which are institutions oriented to the training and formation of primary and secondary teachers, secondary school teachers. Some instruments were used to collect and analyze the information. The first one was students' video recording. So there were a total of 4 units that were administered, that were reviewed in this course for this project. So students had to prepare a pre-test and a post-test in order to see their abilities of speaking abilities in these units. So they prepare a pre-test based on the unit contents. They send the materials to the teacher identified the mistakes. He recorded an additional material highlighting the mistakes but not telling the students exactly what mistakes were, but the students had to listen to the material and identify and compare the teacher's audio with their own audio, and after that they proceeded to elaborate a post video. In this video they should have corrected the mistakes. This instrument was analyzed by means of the Cambridge A2 level assessment scale and the formula words per minute, which allows students and teachers and other people to calculate, to ponder the time of speaking and the fluency. So total number of words is divided by their recording time. The students' perspective were also required to be known in order to find out the students' feeling and opinion regarding the implementation. So semi-structured interviews were guided with students. This information was categorized by means of hybrid encoding. In the pre-test, it was found out that the preliminary problems were lack of differentiation among phonemes. So students had problem identifying short phonemes versus long phonemes, such in words such as sit or sit, the long E versus the short E. They also had problems identifying the sounds like versus O in words like number, which tended to pronounce as nomba. Instead of num, they say nom. Also with words such as study, they tended to pronounce a study such as study. Another problem with differentiation. They also found difficulty identifying the difference between the vowel, the long vowel a versus a. So words such as they, mate, and name were pronounced da, mat, and nam. It was also observed that when they recorded the videos, their speaking rates, the speed was reduced in comparison when they spoke in video conferences. The speed rate results show that after the implementation, most of the students could increment their speed rates. So for example, student 1, student 2, student 3, and student 6 increment the rate of delivery or the fluency rates. In this case, they spoke faster and with fewer problems. An exception to this is student 5, who encountered more problems, whose speed rates were diminished during the implementation of the post-test. Student 4 show mixed results, so it would be important to notice and to identify which factors contributed to this decrease of speed in the post-test. It was also seen that the number of phonetical inaccuracies or mistakes was reduced in most of the cases. So student 1, 2, 4, 5, and 6 reduced their number of speaking mistakes, pronunciation mistakes. An exception to this is student 3, who encountered more problems, whose video contained more pronunciation problems in the post-test edition. It was also seen that the significant differences among pronunciation in this case were not like big, so it would be necessary to see if this kind of implementation video recording can actually help them in a near future, yes, or in the next periods, or if this difference in number of pronunciation mistakes was just coincidental. But I think in most of the cases it helped improve pronunciation, even though in some students this difference were not significant. But I think this is a good indication that this procedure can be used to decrease the number of pronunciation mistakes. So I think pronunciation is improving because of this implementation. The perspective, so we can see that most of the students had positive perspectives regarding this. They saw this as a good instrument to self-assess their performance, their pronunciation and fluency skills. They can use the materials as many times as they want. They could listen to the audio provided by the teacher as many times as they wanted, and they could rehearse before doing that. Apart from benefits in pronunciation and fluency, students thought that video editing and sketch making, that corresponds to the video making process, can develop their writing too, and they can also see that their confidence was increased by means of this instrumentation. There are also disadvantages or drawbacks to this implementation. As previously said, according to students, one of the main problems is internet connection. Lack of internet connection or reduced internet connection prevented sometimes students from sending the videos on time, or the students require more time to complete the task. Another aspect is frustration, so students sometimes felt that when they could not reach their objectives, their goals in terms of pronunciation and fluency, they felt frustrated. They also thought that video recording can be used as a potential tool to help face-to-face teaching or online teaching, but under no circumstances can this technique replace tuition. So they still think that a teacher is necessary to guide them and to help them answer the questions. Okay, in the conclusions, we can see that video recording can be used by students and teachers to monitor and assess speaking skills and other skills. In this case, it was used to analyze the effectiveness of this technique for sound production and discourse speed, to see if they could be helped in terms of pronunciation and fluency. It was observed that actually this helps. It also helped increase students' motivation and confidence in the classroom. This can be used in both face-to-face or classroom-based and online educational settings. Nevertheless, different factors need to be analyzed in order to find out if there are more disadvantages or advantages regarding the implementation of video recording to enhance pronunciation and fluency. It's necessary to analyze also students' context and the needs they have in order to reach the objectives for this kind of projects. And as the student said, well, this is not a replacement for teaching, this is just a resource that can be used to help them. I agree with them. I think teachers have to make use of these resources, but under no circumstances should we replace formal teaching with this kind of techniques. They are helpful, but they cannot be seen as the replacement for teaching. Well, this is my contact information. If you have any questions, you could contact me at this email. You can email me. I would be happy to help. And well, as I said, this project was a very brief project. Hopefully more information would be added to this, and I would like to say that this kind of experiences can help us find out more about how we learn, how we can teach. Yes, and on the face of COVID-19, we need to be more careful about how we can teach students, what we can use to help them. It would be necessary to guarantee a better education level. So, as I said, this is a very brief project. I hope you don't have any questions, but if you have any questions, you can email me. I would like to thank again the 6th Saarbrücken International Conference Committee for the invitation. This is a really interesting event, so hopefully more events like this can be organized in the near future. I would like to thank the committee and all the people involved in this. And as we said, well, this is the purpose of this activity, to see, and we can see that these kind of resources help students and help teachers. We can make use of these techniques and other technological devices to help them, but we need to find out more, and we need to do this in order to help students and see if, well, they have any problems, or we can do a better job as teachers. Well, as I said, thank you very much for for the invitation, and this is my contact information. If you have any questions, you can email me. These are the references. Thank you very much. Merci beaucoup pour votre attention. Dankeschön. Thank you.